All right, we're live here. We're live to our group. I'm healthy and I know it. I'm so excited to be on here. It's been a while, you guys. So hopefully as you hop on, you can introduce yourself. I'm going to add one of my friends to this. Hold on just a minute. Can you hear me now? Okay, we'll see if we can get. Okay.
Hey.
Hey! Did it work?
I think so.
Awesome. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, you can hear me, I'm guessing, right?
Yep, we are good. We're on. It's always like cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross everything that this works, but I think we managed. Oh. Well, you guys, I'm so excited to be live here in this group. I'm healthy and I know it, in our health community, and I wanted to bring on one of my good friends, Brandon Phelps, but most of you will probably know him as Captain Awesome. So I know whenever I say Brandon, people are like, huh? Who? Like, oh, Captain Awesome. They're like, oh, yes. So I'm so excited. I had to bring Brandon on because Brandon and I have been chatting the past couple weeks, and every time, this is actually this is my client support day. So I was calling Brandon for a typical week check-in, as we all do with our coaches, and I thought we might as well just do it on here, because just so that you guys can hear, the past couple weeks I have heard some of the most amazing things from Brandon. He has made some incredible mind shifts and incredible changes in his life that I wanted him to just kind of brag about him and celebrate him a little bit. And even for just him to, he's amazing to be willing to share some of these tips and things that he's been going through and being just real with us. Because you know what? The struggle is real. We've all been through the struggle. And sometimes when you hear other people that have been through it, it's like, okay, I'm not the only one that's been through the struggle here. But hopefully this is a little bit inspiring to you, that this can just kind of help you realize that, you know what, we all have to work on it. But it's worth the fight. So Brandon, I want to hear it. Will you tell everyone kind of what's been going on the last little bit for you?
Yeah. Well, it started, my Optavia journey started almost, I think it was 2 years ago, and a little over 2 years ago. And I joined the program and saw some amazing success. And I was kind of a reluctant participant, but I knew that I'd seen it work with other people. And so I was willing to jump in and do this. And I saw some really great results right off. I think it was about 13 or almost 14 weeks. I had lost about 52 pounds, which was just amazing. The problem was, well, not the problem. My goal was to lose 100 pounds. And that was my focus, was just losing 100 pounds. And I wanted to lose it for, I wanted to feel better, look better, have more confidence in the way I looked, more physical capacity, all the good things that come with the weight loss. And I was doing really well with it. I can't say that I was perfect on plan, but I was working, I was trying, and I'd mess up here and there, but I was trying, and I was seeing some great results. And by the time I hit 52 pounds, I had achieved all of those things. I mean, I looked better, I had more confidence, I had greater physical capacity, all the things that I was hoping to gain by that 100-pound goal. I got at 52 pounds. Now, I know that if I'd gone the whole way, then I would have had more of that. But at the moment, it hit me that I got all of those things, and all of a sudden the pressure was off. And I started kind of slacking a little bit here and there and making exceptions. And then when the pressures of life kind of hit me, then it all just fell apart. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that experience. And I realized I've had a lot of time to look back on that exp and kind of figure out what was going on in my head and why it didn't work or why I didn't work. And I realized that that was kind of my focus. I'd gotten to that point where there wasn't any more pressure. I didn't have any more tension to keep going. And I just kind of let it slip and let it go. And this time, I work with a lot of, in my work, I work with a lot of Optavia coaches. And so I've been able to look inside and see how things are working, hear a lot of people's stories. And it's been really inspiring and getting me excited to get back on plan. And I am now. And things are going really well. I feel great now. But the difference now is that I'm in it to be healthy instead of last time I did it. I was in it to lose some weight, and then I didn't really have a plan beyond that. I was just going to get to that goal weight and then hopefully stuck. And that's kind of how I thought. But this time I'm in it. I mean, last time it was kind of this effort of this idea of trying to do as little as I possibly could and get as much results as I possibly could.
Ah.
And the interesting thing is with Optavia, with excuse me, with the 5-in-1 plan, you can kind of do that. I mean, it's pretty simple, and you can still see some great results. You don't have to be perfect, and you'll see great results. But what are you trying to do? Are you trying to be healthy, or are you trying to just kind of lose some weight? And at that time, the first time, I was just trying to lose a little weight, and that's all I really cared about. And when I had done that and got to a point where I was better, I was feeling better than I'd ever felt in my life. And when I got that, I was kind of like, okay, that was great. That was a fun run. But this time I want to be healthy. This time I want to focus on the habits of health and having those habits in me. And so that all along this journey of not just losing weight, but trying to be healthy and focusing on that kind of a thing, that's where I'm going now. I want to have more life. My kids deserve more from me. My wife deserves more from me. I deserve more from me. And I just want so much of that. The feeling is so different now because it's not a matter of just trying to do as little as I can and get the great results. It's how much can I do that will accelerate my progress towards being a healthy person.
Wow. Okay. That is incredible right there, you guys. Brandon has literally told us the secret of health. So many of us do start something like this with that diet mentality. And Brandon has shown how that did not serve him. It served him for a while. You know, he was able to get some weight off and he was able to have some success on the scale, but that wasn't lasting for him. And the second time, I've watched how everything has been different for him. Now, I know that, Brandon, there are some people watching that have experienced the same thing. So tell us and what you've explained, the whole, you want to be healthy. You know, it's this stronger desire for you now. I know that people watching want that as well. I don't think the desire is different, the lack of desire wanting it, but what would you say to those people that are struggling getting to that point? Like, what does that look like? What does that switch look like?
Well, we talk a lot about remembering our why we're doing this, and that's a big part of what this is. But the thing that has really helped me is just understanding, that making that why really clear.
Making the why bigger, is that what you said?
Just making it incredibly clear, making it so that it's very clear what it is and why it is that I want that, and reminding myself all the time of what that why is. And sorry, my 4-year-old's trying to get in. Hey, give me a minute, okay? So she wanted to show me the crutches she's playing with.
Oh yeah.
But
she can be on the live with us. That's fine.
Make the why really clear for first off, and understand that is. And for me, that's my family and who I am for my family. and what
Mm.
my family deserves and what I deserve, so that I can be there for my family and have more life with them, more experience with them. And that's the
Mm.
main part of my why. And
Mm.
reminding myself all the time of what that why is. Every morning when I get up and I get my first fueling, I remind myself why I'm doing this. And there are those times that I'm faced with the temptation to divert from the course, to leave the course and maybe
Yep.
something that's going to get me off plan or set me back and get me out of fat burn or whatever that is. And sometimes I'm going to mess up. And I actually have a couple of times in the 2 weeks that I've been doing this. But I've I just well, one of the things I do is I keep track of my wins and my losses. Um, and I have a
Tell us
little
more about that. This is interesting.
So I have an app on my phone and I just keep notes on it. And one says wins and one says losses. And for instance, a couple of the wins would be Sunday dinner. We go up to my in-laws' house and there's food everywhere. And it's not the best food. It's tasty food, delicious food, but it's not the best food. It's stuff that's gonna kick me out of fat burn and take me off. And it's frustrating when I do that. And I get frustrated when I mess up. Um, and sometimes I just get discouraged. But I keep track of those wins to remind me that I am a successful person, that I have won, and that I'm successful. And when I keep track of my losses, I don't just write down how I screwed up. I write down what the situation was, how it happened, what happened, and I'm very honest with it. And then I write down how can I avoid it. I take a note of how I can fix that in the future. When I'm faced with that same scenario, how can I do this? And my hope is, I haven't been doing it very long, but my hope is that as I do this enough and as I keep track of these things, that I'll recognize patterns, and I'll recognize those times in keeping track of my losses and how to overcome those. I'll recognize those scenarios when that happens usually. And if it happens,
Mhm.
then I can start to address things a little further upstream before I get into those situations. And I
Brandon, how is that different? How you're doing this now, I love that you're writing down your wins and your losses, and those losses, how are you learning from that? What could be different? How is that different than before when
be,
you did this the first time?
Before, I wanted to ignore the losses. I wanted to pretend that they weren't there. And I wanted to focus only on the good things. Oh man, I've lost 15 pounds already, or I've lost 30 pounds. This is amazing. I feel great. Yeah, I messed up and I did these kind of things, but hey, I've still lost 30 pounds. And it was easy for me to just kind of be blind, or make myself blind to the setbacks. But this time, the difference is that I look at the setbacks not as something to be discouraged about. And it really is easy to get discouraged. I mean, it's so easy to get discouraged. And when I get discouraged, I just get frustrated, and then I start to question my resolve, and I start to question my ability and my capacity to keep going. So I don't like going there. I don't like being there. So this time I've decided that when I have a setback, I'm going to be very brutally honest with myself and say, hey, I screwed up. This is what I did. I knew better and I messed up. But what is this opportunity now? I look at it instead of as a failure, I look at it as an opportunity. And it's an opportunity for me to grow and realize, okay, you know what? I messed up. And it's okay that I messed up. And I'm going to mess up again, but how can I be more intentional with my efforts so that I can do it less and less as I move forward?
Hmm. Isn't that interesting? You guys, Brandon just said he knows he's going to mess up again. Like, that's hard to say sometimes. When we're in the diet mentality, we think either I'm going to be perfect or I'm not doing this at all, right? But the
Yeah.
lifelong mentality is exactly what Brandon just said. You know what? I know I'm not going to be perfect for the rest of my life, and that's okay. I'm going to accept that and say, okay, those failures are just did you say opportunities to grow? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yeah.
Failures are opportunities to grow. What can I learn from those? And writing them down, talking to your coach about those, finding out, that family party, that birthday party you're going to have, that's going to come up again. Those aren't going away. Brandon and I talked about how his weakness is sugary drinks.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those sugary drinks are always going to be there. You know
Mhm.
what? The juice is not going out of style anytime soon. It's always going to be there. But what's going to change is you. Brandon's going to change. Brandon's mind is going to change to where that's not going to affect him like it used to.
Yeah. And there's one more thing that I've started doing, and this was, many of you might know Paul Blanchard, Dave Blanchard with the Og Mandino Group. Paul told me this, and it has really helped me. Um, when I'm faced with that temptation to eat or drink something that's gonna derail me or potentially, take me out of fat burn or take me off plan or set me back in whatever way, stuff that I know is not good, then I just, before I eat it, before I have that, I've I've kind of given myself permission to eat whatever I want. Okay, first off, I can eat whatever I want, and that's the beauty of this plan. It's not all or nothing. You really can eat whatever you want. It's just what consequences are you willing to deal with? And that was kind of an eye-opening revelation for me as I started back into this again. Is that I really can eat whatever I want, but is this going to get me where I want to go, or is it going to take me further away from it? And whenever I'm faced with that temptation and I have that in my hand and it looks so delicious, whatever it is, but I know it's going to take me further from my goal, I stop and I say out loud, this is going to destroy my family. And
Wow.
I don't like how this makes me feel. And when I do that and I look at this, I can still eat it. I can still go there. I can still do it. But now I know where I'm going. And I've reminded myself, wait a minute, this isn't what I want. And then it becomes a logical discussion in my mind of like, okay, wait a minute, I don't like how this makes me feel. And I really do know that if I continue to do these kind of things, it's going to destroy my family. And I don't like that. I don't like how that makes me feel. So there have been many times that I've had that. There are a couple of times that I had that conversation and I still ate it. And I didn't like how it made me feel. And there have been so many times when I've had that conversation and I say it out loud. It's an out loud thing. And my kids look at me kind of weird. Say it out loud. And then it reminds me, is like, wait a minute. Oh, it takes me out of that craving and it just makes it more of a logical decision rather than this emotional, like, oh, I just want this so bad. Then I'm just like, wait a minute. This is going to destroy my family. And I don't like how this makes me feel. And when I do that, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. I really don't want this. And I set it down and I walk away and I'm fine. Um,
Brandon, I love that how you found a phrase that works for you because that's your why. This is the reason why you're doing it, is because of your family and to
yeah.
feel good. And so I think that all of us can find those phrases that just get us, right? That like the reason of why we're doing this. And in that moment, like you said, taking it from a kind of a reactive state to more of an emotional reactive state to more of like a logical, like it's actually bringing it to a different part of our brain
Right.
of, wait a second, let me think about this. We've learned in Dr. A's how the stop, challenge, and choose method. It's very similar to that. It's okay, I'm going to stop, I'm going to challenge myself and say these words out loud, whatever our why is, and then we can still choose. And it doesn't mean it's fail proof. Like you said, sometimes you still choose to eat it, but at least you're doing it like you're very aware of what choice you're making. And over time it strengthens that logical brain to where you will be able to I find you find more success the longer you do that, as you strengthen that part of your
Right.
brain.
Right. Yeah, it's a totally different feeling this time. The first time was just kind of I'll give this a shot and see what happens. And some great things happened. This time it's more of like, okay, what can I do to make sure that I'm going to be successful with this? And I'm not just talking about my weight goal, because I have a weight goal and it's something that's really important to me. And I love how I feel as I progress towards that. But this time it's just, how can I be healthy? What can I do more to make sure that I stay healthy? because that's what I want. I don't just want to lose weight. In fact, my weight goal may change as I go because, you know, weight, whatever reasons, as I go, I'm hoping to get more healthy and more fit, and I'm going to be putting on more muscle, so my weight's going to shift a little bit, but
Yep.
it's a healthy goal. It's not just a weight loss scenario.
Absolutely. Brandon, you have been so generous with your inspiration and your time. Thank you for sharing these tips, like just all around your mentality, but even some really simple tips. If you're just hopping on live, go back and watch it from the beginning. I sure have been inspired. Would you mind if we have you on again in a couple months and try to get an update from you?
Oh, that'd be great. That's another good accountability thing to look forward to.
Right, right. Accountability is good.
Great. Yeah.
Everyone's cheering for you. I know. Give them some hearts and some likes if you think Brandon can do this, because I know he can. But even if not, you know what, Brandon? You've got this. You know you can.
No, it's going to work this time, and you know, I don't know how often I'm going to mess up or how successful I'm going to be consistently, whatever. But the consistency, it's more of a consistency thing than a constancy thing. And I'm just going to keep trying, keep moving forward and keep going because I want this. I mean, I really, really want this. So I'm going to get it.
So many people can relate to you. Thank you so much for being
Thank,
so inspiring, Brandon. Thanks for being on.
thank you.
We'll see you guys. Have an awesome day.